Hi everybody, it is Win, and welcome to another video by the Entropy System. Today's video topic was suggested and voted upon by our patrons. If you're interested in becoming a patron, a link to our Patreon is in the description below. And today's topic, voted on by quite a large majority, is talking about blending, and how we are able to know who is fronting at any given time. Daniel talked about this way back in one of our early videos. I think it might have been the second video we ever posted. He talked about being co-conscious and how it can be confusing if someone is fronting and another one of us is very close to the front. He compared it to playing a video game, and that two alters have a controller, but only one of the controllers is connected to the game. Eventually, one of the alters will realize that the commands that they're putting in with the controller are not translating to how the character on the screen is behaving, and they'll realize, oh, well, I guess my controller isn't the one that's connected. But how do we even get to that point? How does it become confusing over who's controlling the body? After all, we're all very distinct individuals, so one might assume that it should be fairly obvious who's in control at any given time. Because we share the same brain and the same set of hormone receptors and the same body, even though we are distinct individuals, our thoughts and emotions don't necessarily remain distinct from one another. Even if an alter is not up front and controlling the body, it is possible for them to influence the behavior of who is up front if their emotions or desires are strong enough in a certain moment. You can learn more about this in our video on passive influence. Sometimes passive influence comes and goes in a moment. The other day I was playing a video game and I beat the final boss, and when I cheered, it was Daniel's voice that came out and said, "Hell yeah!" I knew that I was the one up front because everything that I told the body to do was being done. But I could tell that Daniel was very close because for a moment I started to behave in characteristics that sort of belonged to him. Because it was only for that one fleeting moment, and I had full control of what the body was doing before and after that moment, I knew that I was up front and Daniel just happened to be very close. If passive influence lasts longer than that though, the line between who's up front and who isn't can get very blurry. Let's say I choose to walk around the mall and I go to a store that I like quite a bit. I walk up to the front of the store and suddenly the body stops momentarily and feels irritated. In this scenario, we'll say one of my headmates is annoyed that I am taking up most of the fun money for the system with purchases for myself. I am able to look around and for the most part move the body, but for whatever reason, the body will not move forward into the store. I also simultaneously feel feelings of excitement to going to the store and annoyance regarding a purchase that will probably happen fairly soon. Because I don't have full control over the body and both conflicting emotions seem to be about the same level, it will be difficult for me to know if I'm actually in control of the body or if I'm very close to the front and my passive influence is making the body do small things like look side to side and feel excited. Usually in those moments where one of us doesn't know if they're in control of the body or not, the other, who we are sort of sharing but not sharing control of the body with, doesn't know if they're up front either. Sometimes you'll hear systems say, I don't know who I am right now, and this is the sort of sensation they're referring to. In this little mall scenario, I'm talking about two alters, myself and another headmate. But there are 12 of us, and it is not uncommon for more than two of us to end up blended in this big mush. As you can imagine, the more of us that are blended at any given moment, the less control each of us individually has over what the body is doing or feeling. This can result in a certain level of panic as each of us flails to try to get somebody in full control of the body, and usually leads to really heavy dissociation, which makes it even harder for us to get somebody in full control of the body. This statement may seem obvious to some of you, but in a period of blending, the ability to move and function and perform daily tasks is hindered. Sometimes during a period of blending, we're still able to do our normal tasks just at a much slower pace and with very little situational awareness to what is going on outside of the exact thing we're all trying to focus on in the moment. Sometimes we get blended and we can't speak or move and just have to sit there until someone is able to take control and get up and go about our day. It's hard to describe what it feels like to be that level of blended. It'd be like trying to explain to someone who has always been 100% deaf what it is like to experience sound. It's something so unique and isolated that I don't know if I can compare it well to an experience that we have all shared. But I suppose if I had to compare it to something, I would say it's kind of like being in that moment between dreaming and waking, where you're sort of aware and are starting to be able to move your body, but everything feels heavy and your emotions are mixed and your thoughts are scattered and you're really not sure where you are or even who you are sometimes if your dream was especially vivid. It's just kind of this state of floating and having very low motor function. Thankfully, it's been a very long time since we've been so blended and dissociated that we just kind of veg out for a period of time. The worst it's been recently has resulted in very slow speech and very, very slow movement, but we could still maintain our faculties for the most part. So I guess to summarize all that, the way that we're able to know who's up front, when we know who's up front, is asking ourselves, is what I want to do with the body, be it move or speak, the thing that the body is actually doing? If what I want to happen is happening with the body 100% or 90% of the time, then yes, I'm the one up front. If it's happening maybe 10% or not at all, then no, I'm not up front and I'm just very, very close. If it's happening 40 to 60% of the time and I can sense other people nearby, then the chances are I'm going to have no idea who's in control of the body and it will send me into a panic. Just a reminder for everybody, there are still a few more days to get in for the raffle for the System Pride flag that we had printed for last February's System Pride Day. Every dollar that you give to our Patreon for a single time pledge this month will result in your name being entered into the raffle one time, and we will be announcing the winner on the first week of August. We also have some cool new merch. We're rolling out stickers of the little chibi versions of everyone's face, as well as socks with those faces on them, because who doesn't love socks? And now, as a result of a popular request on your guys' part, we have loved, valid, valuable socks. Because socks are the best, and you guys wanted those socks, so we made them for you. And on that note, please remember that you are loved, you are valuable, and you are valid. Have a great day, everybody. Bye!